Hello and welcome to the Comics Atlas. This is the series in which we talk about the complete history of comic book characters. Last Wednesday we met funny Mike Murdoch, who is still blessing us with his presence this week. Maybe he could be a blessing in disguise? In any case, let's begin today's stories. Daredevil will get unmasked, or so we're promised. Let's wait for it. Matthew is in his house, eager to ask Karen to marry him and exercising to the tune of his happiness. But the near past is lurking. Mobsters are already trying to fill the power vacuum left by the masked marauder who was recently evaporated. We cut to Nelson and Murdoch where there's a scene of chaos. When Matt arrives, Foggy is gagged and Karen kidnapped. It's a trap by the former Marauder gang to force the man without fear to counterattack. Our protagonist knows it and plans his strategy to fool his rivals. He changes his costume, goes where Karen is held and plays blind man. He's caught and unmasked, but nobody believes he's the man they're looking for. Left alone in his prison, he easily escapes and hits the villains on their blind spot. Valiantly taking on a dozen men at a time, Daredevil saves his mistress and calls the police. Reflecting on the day, the lawyer knows he can put his woman in danger by marrying her, so he abandons all his hope once again. Next, it's Cobra and Mr. Hyde. You know I hate them from my Thor episode, but this time at least it's plausible that villains on their levels can put up a better fight on this comic, but I won't have too much hope on that. Hey, it's Thor as our guest star. Interesting. Cobra and Mr. Hyde are going on a crime spree, catching the attention of Mr. Murdoch. His plan this time is peculiar, to say the least. He buys a Thor costume and plans on going around town and wait for the villains to come to him. In his mind it should work because they have been defeated by Thor before. Lame. Well, looking at him, I think Matt does a pretty darn accurate Norse god, good enough to fool his friends for a moment. Fun comes to an end when Donald Blake listens to reports of his alter ego going around the roofs of the city. He turns into a real Thor and looks for the impostor. Quickly, both men clash. There's no hope of Matthew winning this, but still he teases the god instead of talking with him. Yeah, classic Marvel, why solve your problems the polite way with fellow superheroes when you can try to beat the living crap out of each other? Anyway, Thor is impressed by the ability of the Red One and leaves, making the other hero drop his impersonating act. At that time, the Cobra and Hyde, who were watching all along, decide it's time to strike the blind vigilante. It's Hyde who tries to overpower his opponent, but he's thrown into a tree for all his problems. The Cobra makes a distraction so he and his ally can escape the routing. Now Daredevil follows them to a haunted mansion where he is hit with a strange formula. The liquid is supposed to leave him blind, but that already happened years ago. No, in this case the formula numbs the rest of his senses, making the hero 100% blind. The other men escape, leaving a disoriented Matt on the old property. He's able to make his way out and onto the city where he struggles to reach his apartment. So in these times of crisis, what does our hero do? Does he try to learn to master his abilities in his new state? Rest and hope his senses return? No, he dresses as Mike to convince Foggy now both twin brothers are blind. Alright. Cobra and Hyde go back to their usual ways while bickering all the way. Matt, or Mike, is telling his story to Karen when they hear the villains on a building nearby. Murdoch decides to take a gamble then. Still completely numb, but with the help of Foggy, he will walk his billy club wire on the skies of New York to try and make the save. The stunt gives the police time to catch on to the criminals, but when it all seems okay, the Cobra sucker punches Foggy and gets ready for round 3. Hyde, Cobra and Daredevil ride together to the place of their last fight, the latest lab of the evildoers. It's pretty far away also, a lonely lighthouse off the coast. Prizes for the effort. They plan killing the man without fear by electrocution, but of course they're idiots and their prisoner shuts down the lights. No fighting on the dark, at least our protagonist has a chance. For some reason Hyde has the antidote for Matt on his hand during the fight. Let me remind you, he's blind and they know it, and yet they still risk it all in a punching match. Guess what happened? If you say he retrieves the antidote, recovers his senses and defeats the criminals, you'd be right. But this time only the Cobra gets caught. Shame. Last week I had a laugh with Mike, but as I predicted now it's just stupid. Why does Matt go out of his way to be Mike in front of Foggy and Karen? Why do they believe in him? I get that it's his alibi, but a smart man like him wouldn't put his lie up to test every other day just for some chuckles. Just retire Mike, or kill him. Yeah, kill him. I don't want him to return later. By far the only valuable thing to read during these issues was the Daredevil Thor discussion / fight / interaction. Seeing Thor respecting but scolding the man without fear for stealing his identity was fun. It was a way of telling him, yeah, you're pretty good, but get your head off your ass and stop being an idiot. It works because Donald Blake is just on another level and could kick his ass if he really wanted. Good there on the same side of justice. Apart from that, what did we have? Idiot criminals, Mr. Hyde and the Cobra, subpar to say the least. 3 issues of the 2 latter guys is just enough to fry your brain. As I said, at least it's more credible that they stand up to Daredevil rather than Thor. But I still love villains that are defeated by their own stupidity on clutch moments. Anyway guys, that's all for today. Don't forget to leave your like, share and subscribe down below. You can also check my other playlists on Spider-Man and Thor. This is the Comics Atlas and I wish you all a nice existence.